Caleb Turner with KSL.com. Obviously, the 0-0 draw is not ideal, but there were a couple chances. Obviously, the penalty kick from Alex, and then in the second half, Ashley's shot might have been one of the better chances as well. What did you think of Ashley coming on there in the second half and kind of pushing that back line to make chances for you guys?
I thought Ashley and actually all of our substitutes did a really good job. First thing is just a little bit more aggression defensively, and that started to create a little bit of momentum for us with regains and things like that, giving us some attacking transition moments and also just the ability to get the ball back right away and move into organized attack. She obviously created quite a bit of a seam three threat, especially when we had success in wide progressions. And I thought she did a really good job, and I would have loved a few more opportunities like that because I'm sure she would have finished one.
Anything else here? Yep, go ahead.
Just what does this result tell you about where this team is kind of in the overall view of the cycle?
I think the first thing is just to acknowledge what a good job Colombia did. They're a good team. You know, they gave Germany big problems. They gave England big problems. We knew that they would be a team that would be really difficult to break down because they like to slow the tempo down. And the way they defend creates some tactical problems. So I think we're not satisfied with a 0-0 draw. We want to create more chances to score. We want to finish those chances to score. But I think there were also some good takeaways. And I think some of these, I actually think we did a pretty good job of breaking lines against a team that's really difficult to break down. And now the key would just be to move from just breaking lines and maybe having some final passes in and behind, a little bit more third man combinations in and behind. And I was very pleased with some of our wide progressions and just to get some more of these repeated opportunities. So actually the cross that you mentioned that went into Hachi, that came from a repeated moment that we did a pretty good job to solve and continue to create those moments. So we just want a few more of those. And in terms of the cycle, I just think it just means we need to score more goals.
Jerica Thomas, Random Fan Podcast. It's really seemed like once the substitutions started rolling in, that's when the offensive chances really started to happen. From a coaching standpoint, why wait to make those changes?
We'll make those changes just based on what we think is going to help move the game along tactically. And obviously some of those are also pre-scripted to help with managing minutes with players in different parts of the NWSL season and things like that. The key is just that when they do go in, that they make the difference that they're asked to make. They have the vantage point from the sideline. They can see all the little testing that our players are doing against the opponent every time we move this way, and we learn something about them. This side, everyone on the bench is learning too, and it's their job to go in and apply those things. But I think the number one thing they brought was just an intensity and aggression. We talked about making things difficult for Colombia or anybody that steps on the pitch with us, and I just think they did a really good job of doing that. It created a little bit of a momentum shift and speeded up the game a little bit, and that's important against a team that wants to slow the game down.
Thank you.
Anything else in the room? Go ahead. Wait for the mic.
Well, Colombia, talking about the rival, Colombia was one of the revelations in the last World Cup. And during last years, we looked at the teams are getting better than other teams, right? So what does it mean for you that the game is getting more competitive every year, talking more about in the World Cups and other international competitions?
I mean, in the big picture, I think it's great for women's football. And it just continues to have a big challenge for us to continue to push ourselves and make sure that we are at the top of that.
Anything else? Yeah, please.
Hi, I'm Savannah, also with Random Fan Podcast. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that the U.S. has always scored against Colombia, and this is only your second time drawing them. Do you think that how Colombia placed in the World Cup had any mental effect on how the team went into this game today?
No, we're on our own progress. We're working on our own selves, and we created some good opportunities against a good team that, like you said, has improved a lot over time, is a formidable opponent, and we just need to get more detailed in the things that we're doing and make sure that we execute. But we created some really good opportunities and held them to very little opportunities, and the idea is just to have a little bit more of those repeated moments. And obviously, we got to finish some of those. And just acknowledge that we missed a PK as well. But set piece generation in general was good. Starting to notice like 2 to 3 corners back to back and those sort of repeated moments. So now it's just going to be about execution, and it's a process, and these things will come with time, but that's not an excuse. We're not satisfied with that.
All right, let's go to, what's that? Yes, go ahead.
Is there a specific repeated moment that you wanted to see more of that we didn't get a chance to really have, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that wide progression, or the ball, that was a little bit of combination play on the right-hand side that led to Hatchie. I think we had a lot more opportunities to Hatchie's moment. I think we had a lot more opportunities in the first half and could have found that quite a bit. We had a free player in the middle that we could have found a little bit more, and when we did find her, we were able to find like Lindsay in the pocket and things like that, and those are good moments that if we repeat, we're going to continue to find the solves that get us into the higher quality goal scoring areas.
Let's go online. Jeff Carlisle, thanks for your patience. Go ahead.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, TWILA. You talked about the moments where you were able to get some set-piece opportunities in succession, kind of a flurry of them. But how did you feel that the team executed on those set pieces tonight?
Yeah, well, the very first thing is service. I think when the service was really good, our execution was obviously better. There's a direct correlation there, and our service needed to be quite a bit better. But I think anytime you're creating those repeated moments, it means that you're competing, and you're also making it very difficult for them to clear the ball and have a counterattacking moment. So the fact that we're able to regain that is a good thing. I think we could do a little bit better job getting first contact to the ball in those moments, but that also comes with quality service. So that's kind of how I think about that.
That's about the size of it.
Yeah.
You good, Jeff?
Yeah, thanks.
Jason Anderson, go ahead.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, TWILA. Thanks for speaking with us. I wanted to ask a little about, in the first half, it seemed like Colombia pretty naturally wants to go to Linda Caicedo. It seemed like they were successful in dragging the game onto that half of the field. After halftime, it seemed like you were able to get much more of a balance where both of your flanks were seeing a lot of the ball. What adjusted there? Was that from you and the coaching staff, or was that the players solving a problem?
Before, as TWILA thinks about her answer, I think it's fair to point out that she did not get by Emily Fox one time. But go ahead, TWILA.
I don't really know exactly how to answer that because I just look at it different. I think that we were also giving them problems on the right and just needed to tweak a few things on our right, so same side that she was on. Yeah, I'm just looking at the game in that moment through a different lens, and I think that all of our defending got better in general when we were a little bit more aggressive. We were on our front foot, we were stepping out and getting pressure on the ball, the type of balls that led to her getting it, and I think that actually has more to do with it than anything else.
Let's go to Jonathan Tannenwald. Go ahead, JT.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, TWILA. Jonathan Tannenwald of the Philadelphia Inquirer. I heard you mention, that you knew Colombia was going to be tough to break down. I think I heard you mention in passing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you were not quite satisfied with the volume of shot creation for your team in the game. I see you nodding, so I'll take that as a yes.
Yeah.
I wonder what fixes that, and if you were or are at all tempted to step away from the Sullivan-Horan Sonnet midfield triangle a little earlier to try to do something.
No, I actually think that we were able to find the free player in there quite a bit, and the issue is more that we weren't moving the ball with enough pace in order to find the free player fast enough for them not to recover. And that isn't always solved by personnel changes. I think that has to do with pace of the ball coming in, information around, those sort of things. And I think we just need to trust some of the things that we're trying to do and play a little bit quicker. This team is a team that's being challenged to make quicker decisions. And when we don't hesitate and we do those things and we execute a little bit faster, we find more success. And I think hopefully we go through the film and we can point some of those things out, and we'll be a little bit quicker in our decision making.
Last one goes to Theo Lloyd Hughes. Go ahead, man.
Hi, Twyla. Thanks for taking the time. Penalty taking. Is there any conversations going on about changing the penalty taker? And is that your decision, or was it your decision previously as an assistant? Is it your decision now to keep Alex Morgan as the penalty taker?
I trust Alex Morgan to take penalties. And she's not going to be satisfied with that. We're not satisfied with that, but I trust quite a few of our players in these moments. And when they're called upon, they will do their best. And sometimes you make them and sometimes you miss them. The expectation is that they do execute, but I trust Alex.